Welcome to the Wednesday Winter Wellness Series. This season, we are focusing on Indigenous mindfulness, and this evening, we're going to be focusing on what's referred to in yogic um, yogic philosophy as the second body or the second chakra. The tone that I have playing in the background is like Hertz frequency for healing that energy center. And we're going to be focusing on some breath work tonight for that area. I wanted to talk a little bit about how symptoms can manifest in our life if we're dealing with uh, imbalances in that center. So that center it rules like the reproductive system, our kidneys, our adrenal glands. So when we're out of balance in that area, we may feel exhausted, like life is working against us, that we can't really create what we want in our lives. And I think I said exhaustion already. That's a key indicator of chronic stress and adrenal burnout. So these exercises tonight, and I'm going to share some really simple things that we can do every day to help our kidneys. So first, we're just going to loosen up the vagus nerve. We're going to inhale deep, reach for the stars, and exhale and sigh loudly. Ah. It's goofy, I know, but no one's looking at you, no one's listening to you. It's just you and yourself doing these practices. We're going to inhale again. Reach up for the stars, drop the head back, reach, 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 and exhale with a loud sigh. Ah. Last time, inhaling deeply and reaching up for the stars. And exhaling. Ah. And inhaling deeply. And as you exhale this time, just let go of all the stories, all the events of the day, all the thinking, and just be here and be grateful that you're showing up for yourself, that you're investing this time into your health, into mindfulness. In this world that seems to be becoming increasingly crazy, it's important that we take time for ourselves to create a safe space, to create balance from within. And it may not change everything that's going on in the world, but it changes what's going on in our world and our ability to respond to the ever increasing chaos outside of ourselves rather than constantly being in a state of react. So we're going to just start with a simple breathing practice. The right hand lays over the left hand, thumbs are touching. We're just going to rest our hands in our lap right below our womb space, having that awareness of our hands resting in our laps against our lower abdomen. And if you're comfortable, you can close your eyes down. Not, you can find a single spot to look at, spot of focus. And we're just going to start breathing consciously, inhaling deeply through the nose. And we're going to exhale through the nose, but with a slightly constricted throat. so that the exhale makes a little bit of a kind of a raspy noise when it's leaving our throat. Continue inhaling through the nose, constricting the throat slightly, and exhaling through the nose. Continuing the breath, staying present with the breath. And when we do these practices, it's really normal for thoughts to just kick in the door and be intrusive, and don't judge them. Just label them as thinking. And I like to imagine the thought in a bubble, and the bubble just kind of like floats off and pops. Staying with the breath. Forgive the background noise. I have a teenager playing video games in the other room. Continuing to stay with the breath. Inhaling deeply through the nose. Constricting the throat slightly. Exhaling through the nose. This specific breath is screen locked, referred to, and I'm probably going to butcher the Ayurvedic, the Sanskrit name. The Ujjayi breath. It's a pranayama to balance the second chakra. Continuing to inhale. Constricting the throat to exhale through the nose. And really tuning into your breath. Our breath is the first thing we do when we come into this world. And it's the last thing we do when we leave this world. It's our connection to spirit. And it's capable of healing a lot of things, but we pay very little attention to our breath. So learning to follow the breath is key to mindfulness. Last minute, continuing to inhale through the nose. Constrict the throat slightly and exhale through the nose. And inhaling deeply. Suspend the breath. Inhale a little bit more. Really stretch the lungs. And exhale. And hold the breath out. Exhale a little more. Hold the breath out for as long as you comfortably can. And when you need to, inhale. when I worked as a clinician, one thing that I noticed working with other trauma survivors is that when we first begin breath work, it tends to actually increase anxiety. And the reason for that is that our diaphragms, when we experience trauma, our diaphragms lock. And diaphragm is like this muscle below the lungs. And when we inhale, it should bend down, and when we exhale, it should bend up. But after experiencing trauma, whether it's childhood trauma or a car accident or natural disaster, our diaphragm muscle just becomes rigid. And that's the cause for this anxiety breathe. When we start to breathe, we start breathing practices. So a lot of people think that breathing increases anxiety because that's their initial experience. But when we consistently do breathing practices, that diaphragm loosens up and begins to get flexibility, bending up on the exhale and down on the inhale. As that diaphragm becomes more flexible, our hearts open. In my teacher training for yoga, I was told the rib cage is like, it's called a cage because it's a prison for the heart. It protects our heart physically, but after so much trauma, we tend to overprotect it to the point where it becomes harmful to us, where we're not feeling joy, we're not able to forgive, we're not able to let go of resentment or difficult emotions, and the heart becomes heavy. And in Eastern medicine, the emotional heart is connected to the physical heart. So the more heavy emotions that we're carrying in our heart, the more likely it is that we're going to experience chronic heart issues. So another real simple thing. Oh, before I forget, when we exhale and we hold the breath out, that practice stretches the diaphragm. It's a very gentle way to stretch the diaphragm. There's more intense yogic exercises to intense the diaphragm, to stretch out the diaphragm. But because this is just a mindfulness class and not a yoga class, I'm not going to go into the more advanced techniques for that. But just simply holding the breath out stretches the diaphragm and makes it easier to breathe. So going back to the second chakra, the second body area in our bodies that controls the reproductive system, the kidneys, adrenal glands, pelvis. So anytime there's an imbalance in that area, we may experience, like I said before, a lack of creativity, feeling like life is working against you, feeling disconnected from pleasure in life. And it's not just sexuality pleasure, but just feeling pleasure, looking at the stars, eating your favorite food, having a connection with somebody that just brings joy. If you're not able to connect with those things, that can be an indicator of an imbalance there. You can also experience reproductive issues, bladder issues, pelvic issues, all of these things. So having a healthy second body is very important. Some simple things we can do besides breathing exercises is having a warm glass of water with lemon juice, preferably fresh squeezed lemon juice first thing in the morning before we drink our coffee or our teas or any of that. Just that simple act of drinking that warm lemon water not only um, neutralizes, what's the word I'm looking for? The opposite of acidic. Um, well, it neutralizes the acids in our system, even though it's citric acid that we're using. It also kind of jump starts the kidneys and liver and helps them function better. One moment. I just need to get to the door. Hi. I'm doing my online class right now. But the cat food's over there in the kitchen. Crane, can you help Easy get some cat food, please? Sorry about that, guys. Train. So aside from lemon water in the mornings, breath work, help him get some cat food, please. The other things we can do is be mindful about what brings us pleasure and actively seeking out healthy pleasure in our life. One of my commitments to myself and my own recovery was telling myself that I was never going to live in another place where I couldn't see the Star Road home. And since I made that commitment to myself 15 years ago, I haven't struggled with depression the way I used to. So just really being true to ourselves and honoring what brings us simple pleasures in life. Like the type of coffee you like, or, you know, the quality of connections with other people, and really working to facilitate those in our lives and make sure that we get those things that make us happy and bring us pleasure. So we have about 20 more minutes left in class. We can do some other breathing practices. I'm used to teaching yoga and not mindfulness classes. So there's a lot of things going through my mind of things that would be beneficial, but that are outside of just doing mindfulness practices. So another mindfulness practice that is very beneficial for the second chakra is creating safety for our sensuality, really. Train, can you come get the dogs out of here, please? There is a huge trend, I think, in modern pop culture about really exploiting sexuality. It's become very unhealthy. So finding ways in our own lives that we can make that sacred again and not just fall into the pattern of what pop culture is doing. So yeah, those are the mindfulness practices I can think of right now. I apologize, I'm not more prepared for the session tonight. I had a crisis call right before I set up and while I was planning for class. So I'm winging it a little tonight. So we're gonna do another breathing practice. We're going to put our right hand on our heart center. And left hand is going to go right below the navel on our womb space, or if you're a man joining us, on your lower navel, about 3 inches below your navel. And we're going to do a breathing practice called Sitpali Pranayama. This breath is incredibly effective for healing the nervous system. It can cool down a fever. If anyone has issues with anger, it's very effective for just neutralizing anger. This time, we're not going to breathe through our nose. We're going to breathe through our mouth as if we're sipping through a straw. Or if you have the genetics for it, you can make a taco tongue, rolling the tongue and breathing through the tongue. And again, don't worry about how you look. Nobody's watching you unless you're doing this in a park or something. But this practice is for you. Just don't worry about it being goofy. So we're going to inhale through our mouth. Long, deep breath, and really being mindful about the coolness of the quality of air coming through our tongue. And we're going to exhale through our nose. Feeling the warmth exiting our body. And if you have any thoughts, kick in the door, intrusive thoughts, don't judge yourself, don't judge those thoughts. Just label it as thinking. Speaking of judgment, continuing to breathe, inhaling through the mouth, exhaling through the nose. That is another symptom of our second body being out of balance, being overly critical of others and ourselves. Continuing the breath, inhaling through the mouth, exhaling through the nose. Being mindful of the coolness of the air coming over our tongue and feeling the heat that is leaving our body. Continuing to inhale through the mouth, feeling that cold air pass over the tongue. Exhaling through the nose, feeling that heat leave the body. And to end tonight, we're going to do a self-love guided meditation. You can continue the current breath, the Sitali Pranayama. If that breath resonates for you, you can just relax your breath. You can have your hands in the previous mudra, right hand and the left hand with thumbs touching, resting in the lap. Or you can have your hands in the placement of the heart and the womb, whatever feels best for you. If we do not allow the natural love for ourselves to be expressed, love does not reveal its beauty very often throughout each day of our lives. Now that you're in a nice, relaxed position, remove any distractions. Your ability to breathe at will in all different kinds of ways. Our breath has been there literally our entire lives, changing as needed to the demand of exciting circumstances and flowing effortlessly when we are resting. Taking multiple and full deep breaths every day is proven to change our bodies and minds for the better. Take in 5 full deep breaths, holding it for a moment. At the top, and naturally exhaling. Taking multiple full deep breaths every day is proven to change our bodies and our minds for the better. 1, inhale a nice big breath, expanding your belly and lungs as much as you can, and hold, and gently exhale with relief. 2, inhaling fresh oxygen that will be supplied to your bloodstream, holding it to soak it in. Inhaling deeply, holding the breath, and releasing it without any effort. 3, inhale, feeling rejuvenated, invigorated by this breathing. Hold it and exhale easy. 4, noticing now how breathing fully comes naturally for you. Pausing to soak it in and exhaling it without any worry or tension. And 5, inhaling fully as an act of self-love, pausing to feel this love and exhaling into complete relaxation. Let your breath flow at a pace without any effort from you now. Good. By doing this, you're proving you are capable of self-love. Deep breathing increases the supply of oxygen to your brain and stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, sometimes referred to as the rest and digest system. By breathing deeply and often, you are commanding your body to rest, which relaxes and rejuvenates you. This is self-love in its simplest form, that anyone can do at any time of the day. Now, let's honor ourselves by relaxing the mind even further. Notice how your thoughts are rising in your mind one after another. See them come and see them go. Some thoughts linger for some time, and some thoughts only come for a split second. If you can really focus, you will notice even smaller thoughts, such as describing the world around you or labeling the things in your surroundings. Let your hearing become super alert now and try to focus on some sounds around you. Maybe you can even hear the sound of your breath. Can you hear nature nearby? Or perhaps cars passing by, or people talking with each other? Just go from sound to sound, focusing on only one at a time. Now stop focusing on any sound in particular and just allow all the noises around you to come in equally. When you hear them, they almost act as tiny waves of relaxation, calming your mind. Good. Your mind relaxes when you activate your senses on command. Let's use the power of your amazing visualization abilities to induce self-love. Begin to imagine yourself full of an abundance of self-love. Inhaling fresh oxygen that will be supplied to your bloodstream, holding it to soak it in, exhaling without any effort. 3, inhale, feeling rejuvenated, invigorated by this breathing. Hold it and exhale easily. 4, inhale, noticing how breathing fully comes naturally for you. Pausing to soak it in and exhaling out any tension or worry. And 5, inhaling fully is an act of self-love. Pausing to feel this love and exhale into complete relaxation. Let your breath flow at a pace without any effort from you now. Good. By doing this, you are proving you are capable of self-love. Deep breathing increases oxygen to your brain, stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, and engages our rest and digest functions. By breathing deeply and often, you are commanding your body to rest and relax and rejuvenate. This is self-love. Just taking a moment as we end tonight's session to tune into yourself. Make note of how you might be feeling differently from the beginning of the session. Make note of anything that may be coming up for you after practicing this act of self-love. Just noticing your internal world. We spend so much of our days focused on external things that We forget to be experts on ourselves. And by practicing mindfulness, it allows us to become our own experts, our own thoughts, our own feelings, our own actions. And as we develop more and more mindfulness in our lives, we begin to affect how we navigate life. We change how we react to a different response, and things that may not have seemed in our control become more easy to, I don't want to say control, but shift, to respond differently to. So with that, I'm going to close the session tonight with a short prayer, just because it's how we do things. And I hope that this was helpful for you, and that maybe you're even able to share these practices with somebody else in your life to help them make their lives a little bit more better. Wakashala, wakantonka, wakanto, wopila, wewina. Thank you for everything that is, everything that was, and everything that will be. Thank you for the blessings, the lessons, and the tests in life. Thank you for prayers answered. Thank you for protection as we navigate our lives. May we take self-love that we experience in tonight's session, and may that energy just ripple out